Greetings, weary strivers. So, you've finally arrived at the great noon. You stand here, don't you, clutching your life's achievements like some sacred map to the heavens, entirely unaware of the shadows gathering in the wings of this cosmic stage. Well, welcome to my explainer. Today, I'm offering you a fascinating, if intensely dark, literary journey into the Crimson Apotheosis. You see, this is my narrative. It's a stark cosmic horror counter-argument to all your traditional stories of human redemption and progress. I am the Shadow Reaper, the Red Spectre. And the text we're unpacking today is, fundamentally, a grand, grim, metaphysical play where all of your endless striving meets its inevitable end. Okay, let's dive into this. The setting of our story is my domain, the pulpit of the perished stars, bathed eternally in the cold, red light of the crimson star. Through my eyes, human existence is incredibly bleak. I don't see your human lives as meaningful arcs, not at all. I see them merely as brightly colored scarves wrapped around a completely heartless universe. Today, we're going to unpack a terminal wager of absolute negation. We're exploring my worldview, one that actively and systematically dismantles the very concept of human meaning. Setting the scene with Act 1, the pulpit's false feast. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is how it exposes your illusion. My narrative unfolds a lot like a tragic play, structured in acts, where your hopeful, upward ascent crashes headfirst into my cold, indifferent reality. Take a look at the roast beast. When you arrive at my pulpit, you're carrying this metaphorical feast. It represents the whole shebang, your human legacies, your status, all your collected earthly achievements. You cling to this roast beast, foolishly believing that a feast of earthly success can act as a fortress to protect you against the coming void. It's really a critique of how you use your resumes and your accolades as this pathetic shield against your own mortality. To truly understand what my Crimson play is doing, we have to contrast it with the hopeful delusions you find in Goethe's Faust. In Goethe's world, human striving, even when it's flawed, is an upward ascent. Those transitory efforts are seen as a divine parable, pointing toward ultimate redemption in Greece. But here in the Crimson play, I act as an indifferent Mephistopheles. Unlike Goethe's devil, I'm not offering any bargains for pleasure or power or eventual salvation. Instead, I oversee a drama specifically designed to uncreate every single earthly meaning. Your upward path isn't a journey toward grace. It's literally just the setup for the punchline of negation. Which brings us to Act 2, the logic of zero. This right here is where your theatrical illusion brutally breaks down. I enforce what's called the Great Fast, a phase where your heavy feast of human achievements suddenly tastes of absolutely nothing. Your anchor has no bottom. Now, if you think about Goethe's chorus mystics, humanity gets reassured that earthly efforts are recognized and perfected in some higher cosmic order. But as an architect of the void, I reveal a terrifying alternative to the striver. There is absolutely no foundation. Imagine dropping your anchor in a stormy sea, relying on it to hold you safe, only to realize my ocean has no floor. That is the existential dread waiting for you. Let's see how this builds chronologically, because your descent is incredibly swift and terrifying. First, my vanguard, an entity called the Grimnash, delivers the honest sound. It's this heavy, resonant thud that tests the frail authenticity of your human will. Second, under the crushing weight of that sound, all of your internal sanctuaries completely shatter. There's nowhere left to hide. Finally, as the Shadow Reaper, I step in to harvest the discarded remnants of your ego and flesh. The whole thing culminates in an internally inky pool of gore. It's a terminal silence where all human achievement literally goes to die. This harvesting process operates on a principle I strictly enforce, known as the logic of zero. And it's not just physical destruction, it's a total metaphysical hollowing. Think of it like a cosmic antibody. Just as your immune system relentlessly attacks a virus, my logic of zero attacks existence itself. It efficiently uncreates all earthly meaning, ensuring that absolutely no city of habit or human legacy can survive the cold truth of my void. I simply zero out the equation of your life. And that drops us into Act 3, Echoes of Breaking Glass. So, stripped of your earthly fortress, you, the striver, prepare to deliver this grand, tragic monologue. You want your suffering to at least possess some kind of artistic meaning, right? But even this final dignity gets violently interrupted. High up in the lunar heights, the silver imp appears, and the imp laughs. This laugh is the exact sound of breaking glass, the ultimate dark revelation.
It shatters the illusion that anyone is actually watching this grand tragedy unfold. The imp reveals we're performing in a theater that was never meant to have an audience. And honestly, what's truly devastating is that the sound of breaking glass shatters my own ego too. It proves that even my grand existential purpose of uncreating meaning is just a scripted, empty gesture in a vacant house. So, the crucial point is that in most traditional tragedies, the sadness comes from a character losing everything they held dear. But my text pushes right past that. The true horror isn't found in losing everything. It's in the realization that the world was always just a hollow prop. It exposes the sheer vanity of believing there was ever anything of substance to lose in the first place. You, the weary striver, are left totally weightless, drifting in the dark, stripped of even your ability to ask, why?
Moving into our final act. Act 4, The Crimson Night's Watch.
And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate contrast. Having realized the fundamental emptiness of the theater, I undergo a terrifying transformation. Goat's eternal feminine represents a redemptive boon, drawing the human soul upward through the power of divine love, leaving worldly struggles behind for unity. But here, I undergo an apotheosis, becoming the Crimson Knight, the superego of eternal negation. I align completely with the absolute law of the Crimson Star. I don't offer redemption. Instead, I become a cold, permanent guardian of this inescapable script. I am the metaphysical chill that ensures this nightmare refuses to stay dead. My ultimate role is to enforce the eternal return. Instead of some upward, vertical shift toward grace, human existence is violently bent into a never-ending circle. I ensure that every single time a new creation emerges, every time a new striver attempts that upward path, they will inevitably meet my blade. The cycle endlessly resets right back where we started, at the great noon. It is a perfect circular trap of uncreation and despair, maintained flawlessly by my watch. So, we have to ask ourselves, freedom or total annihilation? The source material presents a cosmic script that entirely rejects human achievement, literally forcing us to interpret the silence of this void. Picture the end of my narrative. The stage is entirely empty. The roast beast is gone. You, the striver, are gone. Only I, the cold guardian, remain, while the silver amp carves glowing lunar runes into the dark obsidian floor, resetting the trap for the next weary traveler. It's a chilling, cyclical image of a theater perpetually waiting to consume its next performer. Which leaves us with a monumental question to wrap up this explainer. If we look through the lens of this text and assume your upward path is merely an illusion, that your legacies are just a false fortress, does accepting my void offer you a strange kind of ultimate freedom from the sheer exhaustion of striving? Or is it simply a dark tale of total meaningless annihilation? The ethical and philosophical implications of that are entirely yours to bear. So think about what you are building and exactly why you are building it in the face of terminal silence.